Welcome again for another session of BloodHound training, an open webinar that's just going to be again an informal training session. And the way we run these formats, if you haven't joined us before on these, is you ask any questions that you'd like. We answer them as a priority. Otherwise, we do have a couple things that we can show as well. But your questions take priority, and certainly if you brought a mic, we'd be more than happy to have you guys speak if you'd like to prefer that way, if you'd like to actually ask your questions in. So I'm just showing my screen right now, and I've got here the SharkIndicators website. I just wanted to show you where to find a lot of the resources that we have online here. So a lot of it here is actually under support and learn BloodHound. We've added a couple new things in the last few weeks. And in particular, I want to draw your attention to the tips and tricks section now, which Zach has actually been diligently working on. And if you click on the link, you'll see a lot of continuous happening, more videos. In fact, Zach's got another one that he's working on here. But if you've been here already, there's a new change here. We've now got the actual BloodHound template and the chart template that you can download. So the BloodHound template is installed in your BloodHound templates folder, and the chart template is actually your NinjaTrader chart template. So let me just show you real quick where that goes. So in my documents folder here, okay, I've got NinjaTrader 7. So this is my documents, and under NinjaTrader 7, just go to the templates directory, and there you'll see a new folder called BloodHound, and that's where you can put the BloodHound template. And the chart template, which is not to be confused with the BloodHound template, is actually NinjaTrader's it's NinjaTrader's own like chart format. That's if you're familiar with that, when you right-click the chart and you can load a template, that'll just plop a bunch of indicators onto your chart. Whereas the BloodHound template is what you load from BloodHound itself. Okay, so we've been putting up all these templates like so, and we actually have now a central download link here. So if you go to Learn BloodHound and go to Downloads, it'll pop up a new screen which has all our downloads associated with examples and templates. So again, you have chart templates down here, you have BloodHound templates here, and we're going to be building this library as we go and look for more and more examples here. So you know, some of these are just examples, so they're not actual like systems that we say recommend trading, and some of them actually are, you know, geared towards like real trading systems. So, you know, be sure to read the example before you, you know, try going and trading a particular system, because it may or may not be intended to actually be traded. I also want to show you the video tutorials section, which some of you guys have gone to. But under video tutorials, we're working on basically a step-by-step guide where you can just learn BloodHound from scratch, starting with a quick start guide. A lot of you guys I know have seen that already. Then we have one that talks about the BloodHound interface in general. And we're again adding more and more videos to this. But this sort of, I guess you could say, are baby steps. So if you're having you know, problems if you're just looking at a blank screen when you open up BloodHound, the first thing I recommend is go to this section here, actually, because it's built for beginners. It's built for people that have never used BloodHound before, and it'll take you through little baby steps, learning the key fundamental concepts on how to build your trading system. And of course, we have now, you know, Zach has thankfully updated these now with the actual BloodHound templates. So if you can actually follow along at the same time, using BloodHound and seeing how we put together some of these examples. Lastly, I want to show you the webinar section. Some of you guys use this to actually sign up. This, of course, is this webinar that we're watching right now. But here on the right-hand side are the recorded webinars from the past. And these are all of them. And those of you that were here last week, I apologize. We had a little bit of a technical issue with GoToMeeting. They actually upgraded our account in the middle of our webinar, something they don't typically do. But just to let you know, GoToMeeting has been really nice to us, and then on top of it, and it may have been a minor inconvenience for us, and I apologize for that. But GoToMeeting has made up for it in spades, so we're happy with them. So we're still sticking with them. but they've upgraded our account to a corporate account. But here we have now essentially all the webinars that we've done in the past, and of course this particular one that we're doing today will also be recorded, and Zach has as well updated these with BloodHound templates and chart templates so you can follow along. Lastly, and kind of most importantly, we're if you need to contact us directly, not a problem. You can use the support inquiry page here. Just put your name in and your phone, or your phone is not necessary, but your email is, and just a message on what you'd like to see help on. And those of you that are, I guess, more past the beginning stages and into the more advanced stuff, and now you just need to start looking at the reference under support, documentation, reference on the right-hand side here. So every feature within BloodHound has been documented, some with examples and pictures. So that's also a great resource. And lastly, I want to show you one more thing, and this is the help forums. And a lot of you guys are already familiar with this, but in the help forums, Zach already has some pretty neat examples here too. Let's see if I can find a good one here. So if you look for these ones with that little paper clip, sometimes you'll see they've got screenshots and they've got examples. So there's one here in particular that I wanted to show you. Zach did a fantastic job of doing that. And yeah, so if you look at all these ones here with the little paper clips here, those tend to be the ones with templates attached to it and screenshots and examples. So here's an example of showing us how to do a double crossover using the indicator cover. So these are kind of scattered throughout, and I definitely recommend if you're picking up just to go through them and check them out. So today is going to be a little bit more of an advanced session. So those of you guys that are just joining us for the first time, I apologize. It's going to be we're kind of skipping over the beginning steps here, because the last couple webinars that we've done, the last couple workshops we've done, have been very basic. And I think it's about time we try maybe one sort of advanced session. So if you're new, don't worry too much about keeping up in terms of learning everything that you see. But it's a great today will be a great example of kind of, I guess, what's possible in the long-term future when you get your proficiency with BloodHound up to say where up to say where Zach's level is, and what you can actually do with it. So today is going to be a pretty exciting day. So Zach's got some stuff prepared with support and resistance, and if we got time later, we had sort of some people asking, hey, can you show us how to use BloodHound within a strategy? So as you know, BloodHound is an indicator. It's basically like a custom indicator that you can create any kind of signal you want on it. But let's see what it looks like using a real strategy with a NinjaTrader. So I've cooked up a small little example. If we got time, I'd like to go ahead and show that as well. But for now, I'm going to pass it over to Zach here, and he's going to take over. But I think we got a question already. So, oh no, we don't. Okay, so Zach, let me pass you the presenter.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. Okay, so now let me get my screen set up here. All right, you should see my screen in just a moment. And before I get started, this is to show you another way of getting a hold of me. So for those of you who use Skype, you can send a contact request for me. So my Skype name for Shark Indicators is Zach White SI. Zach White, and SI is for Shark Indicators. So, and whenever I'm sitting at my computer and I'm available, I'll sign into this account and I'll put myself online. So if you see me online, that means I'm available for instant support. So feel free to use this. And also, Jeremy and I are setting up a support scheduling system. So pretty soon you'll be able to go to the website and see what our schedule is and schedule a one-on-one training session or whatever you need support. and schedule it that way and lock in an appointment time. So Skype is pretty much kind of like for just on the fly. You know, if I'm available, just go ahead and hit me up. All right. So now I'll just jump right in and do some training. So like Jeremy had said, we kind of touched on some of the basic solvers in the last few webinars, and so now we're going to get into some more of the a little more complicated ones. So what I have on my chart is the Murray math lines. If you're not familiar with Murray math, they're kind of like pivots. It's just another form of pivots. So first, to get started, I'm going to show you guys how to get started with BloodHound. So I already have BloodHound on my chart. That's these green bars here, and you can see I have a button up here and a pull-down menu. Now it says right here, no template name, so I don't have a template defined yet or named yet, and that's kind of what you want to get. That's what you want to start with. So to start off, we're going to go into the indicator window. So I'm going to just double-click on the BloodHound indicator. It brings up the Ninja Trader's indicator window, and you can see it took me right to the BloodHound. And so what we first want to start off with is to create a template. So when you click up in the field up here, it gives you a button to click on, and that will bring up what we call setup mode. And so setup mode allows you to go in here and load templates that you may already have, or you can create a new template. So what I'm going to do is, like Jeremy had showed, we are saving the templates for all the workshops. So I'm just going to pick one of these and go through and delete all the solvers, start from scratch, and actually I'm going to do a save as, because obviously I don't want to override that template. And put today's date. Alright, save. We can see the name is up here. And let me show you a few things that are available in setup mode. One of them being the chart button. The chart button, what that does is it allows you to add multiple or a secondary time frame. So if your system uses a higher time frame, you can add that chart. So like some people will use a 15-minute time frame and use indicator values on that 15-minute chart. So this allows you to use multiple time frames within your system, and so you have to do that within setup mode here. All right, so I'm going to click OK, and then click OK, and I prefer to work in what's called real-time mode. And so the button up top here, you can see it shows the name of our template that we're working with. So if you click on that button, it then brings up what we call setup mode. And you can see in setup mode it does not have that chart button up here. So, alright, so what I'm going to show is in the previous webinars we kind of went through some of these upper solvers, and so for today I'm going to go through a few of these lower solvers, and I'm going to start off with the support and resistance solver. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to click on the time frame, and I hit add, and it drops it down there. If you forget to click on which time frame you want to add it to, so you can use this up and down arrow, and if I click down, we can see it takes that solver and it moves it down to the 15-minute chart. So therefore this solver is applied to the 15-minute chart. Let me move it back up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Murray math indicator with this solver, and just demonstrates the modes that this solver has. So to use an indicator, there's various. Let me back up here. So there's various ways you can use this solver. So some of the choices are you can use a regression channel. Most typically, most people are going to use an indicator, and then you can just, or you can implement a fixed interval. So you can kind of see that this Murray math has equally spaced intervals, and if you like, you can create your own equally spaced intervals as well. But for this demonstration, I'm going to use indicator, so I'll set this to true. And when I did that, you can see this indicator window opened up. So if I put this back to false, that indicator window went away, set back to true, and there we go. Alright. So, and then I need to change the indicator. So by default, it's defaulted to the SMA. And if I click in this field, it brings up this button, and I can click on the button, and then it brings up our indicator selection window. So I'm going to scroll down to the M's, find the Murray math, and either I can double click on it or I can use the button down here to add. And whichever indicator you're using, so say if I use the pivots, you have your parameters up here that you can adjust. That way you can match what you have on your chart. So all your indicator settings in this window will show up on here. Now, down here are the various plots that we have that we can use to analyze. And so with the support resistance solver, allows you to select all the available plots. And so there's this convenient select all button, and so that will select all of these plots here to use for support and resistance. Or if I want, I can eliminate some of these plots, like I can eliminate the innermost plot. And so this solver would not use this plot line for its calculation. But, all right, so let's click OK. All right, so now I'll go into showing you the various modes. So the support resistance solver has two different modes. One's called headwind, and the other one is tailwind. Now, so let me demonstrate headwind mode. And I'm going to set this to 0. It helps demonstrate it better. And so what headwind mode does is it tells you when you have enough room to go in a certain direction. So here we can see the BloodHound is giving us a long confidence, or along a permissive. And what that's saying is that there's enough distance between price and the next upper support resistance line to actually take a trade into resistance. And this gap value here is determined by the settings. So right now I have it set on ATRs, and there's various measurement types, ATRs. There's points, or ticks, or Renko bricks. For ease of demonstrating, how this works, I'm going to put it all on ticks. Most people, I think, understand ticks a lot easier. Obviously, a tick being the instrument tick size. And so right now, our gap distance is set to 4 ticks. So essentially, when there's 4 ticks between price and the next resistance or next support, BloodHound will tell us that we have enough room to take a trade in that direction. So all I'm going to do is increase this a little bit so I can see the Murray math are spaced about 40 ticks apart. So I'm going to set this to about 25 ticks. And so now we can see that when we're requiring at least 25 ticks to take a trade into support or into resistance, the output here changes. So what this is showing is that because we're so close to this support line, there's a very low confidence value from BloodHound. But we can see that from price going up to resistance, we have a full confidence value of 1. So that's saying that there's 25 ticks or more space to take a trade into this upper resistance area. So let me draw little ellipse on here. Hold on. There we go. So this distance here, this space here, is at least 25 ticks or greater, is what BloodHound is telling us. So let me kind of scroll through here and find some other points. Well, looks like we're at the bottom of the Murray math line. So let me go back to another day. Let's see. Now these are only 20 ticks apart. Let me go to another day. Here we go. Alright, so let me kind of pick out this area right here. Draw an ellipse on here. So what this is telling us, we have a high short confidence, and what that's saying is that from price down to support, there's more than 25 ticks of space down here, of room to take a trade short into support. So that is, so just to recap, headwind mode is telling you that you have enough room to take a trade into support or into resistance. So let me draw another ellipse on here. All right, so BloodHound's saying there's enough room to take a trade into this resistance, or enough room to take a trade short into support. Now, so the other mode is the tailwind mode, and that essentially is the opposite of headwind mode. So in headwind mode, you can kind of think of it as there being very little headwind, like if you're a runner. Jeremy has this great analogy. So if you're a runner and you're running into this resistance line for headwind mode, there's very little headwind, and so it's easy for price to get up to the next resistance line. Now in tailwind mode, excuse me, let me get some water here. In tailwind mode, what that is telling you is that you have the wind to your back. So when price breaks below this Murray math line, as soon as it breaks below, it's kind of saying that you now have the wind to your back. So price is below this, what now is resistance line, and therefore you've kind of got this resistance line to your back, which is kind of good for a short. And then when price breaks above this resistance and it comes back to the support line, it's saying now you kind of have the wind to your back to bounce off of this support line and go long. So, and so when you change from headwind mode, you can see that the distance targets changes. So in headwind mode you have a minimum distance, and in tailwind mode you have a maximum distance, and you can see it switched back to ATRs. So I'm going to switch and it remembers the settings for the various modes. I'm going to switch them back to ticks. So if, let's see, we're on the CL. So yeah, so I'm going to set the ideal distance to about 5 ticks. All right. Yeah, so here's a good classic example. So price moves up and it breaks the resistance line, moves up, then it pulls back to the support line here. And when it comes within 5 ticks of the support line, we get a confidence value to go long on this. And then when price breaks below the support line, then it's giving us a confidence value to say that you're going to go short. So that essentially is the support resistance solver. So next I'm going to move on to, well actually what I'm going to do is I was kind of going to demonstrate this must agree with swing trend, and to kind of explain that I need to show you another indicator. So I'm going to add the swing trend solver, and I'm going to turn off the support resistance solver, and I actually need to add that indicator onto the chart here so that way you can see what's going on. So BloodHound comes with a couple of its own indicators that you can add to the chart so you can visually see what is being calculated. And so this one, so this Dorshend swing trend is the SiSwing's indicator. And a couple of these solvers are called the Dorshend because a gentleman from Big Mike's, his last name is Dorshend, and he was kind enough to allow us to use his code in BloodHound here. So we just want to give him some credit for that. Alright, so let's see. Alright, so the SiSwing's indicator has 2 parameters here. One parameter for detecting tops and bottoms, and the other one is the swing sensitivity. Let me click OK. Alright, so we can see the these lines here being drawn for the swings as it's being detected by the indicator. And here, just to clean up my chart, let me turn this EMA and SMA off. And I'm going to thicken the lines here for the SiSwing indicator, make it easier to see. Alright, so the SiSwing indicator, what that is telling you, so right now BloodHound is telling us is essentially it's in sync with the indicator I have on the chart. So the way it works is, I'll start back here a little bit. So when we made this lower low, when the indicator detected a lower low, it detected that we were in a downtrend. And as soon as that lower low was detected, we can see BloodHound gave us a short confidence. So on this bar, it got low enough to become a lower low. So it got below this higher low. So let me draw a line to kind of illustrate. So this higher low, as soon as it was broke by this bar here, we got into a lower low situation. And that is when BloodHound switched to a short. And then we made a lower high, so we're still in the downtrend. And we continue to be in a downtrend here until a higher low, or I'm sorry, actually until a higher high is detected here. So so this area where there's no output, essentially we're kind of in this no man's land. And so until this higher low is actually detected, then we know that we're actually in an uptrend.
Yeah, if I may just add, Zach, real quick.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Yeah, the DT stand for double top, and the DB stands for double bottom. And those of you that, well, basically, higher lows and higher highs are a significant clue to you that you're in an uptrend. And likewise, lower lows and lower highs are a very significant clue that you're in a downtrend. It's just basically telling you that the market can't penetrate the last high, that the bulls are, say, for example, if you have a higher high and a higher low, that's just telling you that while the bears try to push the market down, the bulls came in before they could on the last retracement and push the market back up at a higher point than the last low. So those are great clues, especially when you're just looking at trend. And double tops and double bottoms are also clues as well, depending on your strategy of basically a market reversal. So typically, in this case, we have a very a small time frame here at 5 minutes, and we have a very sensitive setting for the double tops and double bottoms. But you can see there's that area of chop there, and that's just an indication that there's a fight going on between the bulls and the bears there. So when you see the double tops and double bottoms, that's a great indication that there possibly could be a change in direction in the market. Sorry, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah. That's good explanation there. So so what it is, I changed the indicator so that it wouldn't detect so many double tops and double bottoms. So now we can see that when price got up here, we got into a higher high situation. Although the reason why we have this kind of no man's land where there's no value detected yet is that just because we broke the previous high doesn't mean that we're actually in quite an uptrend yet. So we have to see where this next move is actually going to go. This next move could continue to go down. So and so here at this point, the indicator believes that we're in an uptrend until we get over here, and let me draw. Well, actually, it's sitting right on the Murray math line. So as soon as this, blue Murray math line is broken, because that's where our last low point was. As soon as it's broken, we created essentially a lower low point, and so that was the trigger for detecting a downtrend, right? So, so just keep in mind that when you're using this indicator to detect trends, remember the trend cannot really be detected until a previous low is broken or a previous high is broken. So yeah, so here you kind of see we're in some chop, and so really some you know, there's just no kind of indication clear yet as to what direction we're going with the indicator. So like this, when it finally got around to detecting a short trend, we got this lower low, but then price had to get high enough to at least put us to at least start an uptrend, to quite determine that you know, this lower low was going to be a true lower low. Excuse me, it's my cell phone going off. That's annoying. Yeah, so when price moved up enough to actually define this lower low, then that's when the indicator knew that we were in a short condition. You know, but in these blank areas here, you know, price was just chopping around, and so the indicator couldn't detect what was going on. So let me kind of keep moving through here. Yeah, so this voided area here, once again, so it was in, you know, it did create a lower low, but this lower low wasn't quite defined until price could move up high enough to start an uptrend. And as soon as an uptrend was detected, this low point was locked in a way. So this low point was detected and locked in. And then from that point, the indicator could say, okay, we did make, this was our lower low point, it was defined, and so now we can, we've determined that we're in a downtrend situation. So this indicator, so kind of going back to why I was showing you this indicator, so for the support resistance solver, using back to our mode here, so when you use the must agree with trend, when that is set to true, what that's saying is that it's using this trend indicator for that support resistance solver. So, and what that'll do is that'll actually give you, if this is set to true, it will, well, I have it turned off right now, so let me turn that, turn that solver on and turn the other one off. So what that does is it kind of creates a filter situation. Let me see if I could find a good example. Yeah, so here's a good example. So here's our higher low, and we can see that we're clearly in an uptrend, and the indicator would have detected that we're in an uptrend. And so when we do break above this resistance line here, essentially we're in an uptrend, and so the trend is agreeing with a bounce off of what would be support line now. So the trend is agreeing with the long BloodHound output, and so that creates a filter. Typically, I would suggest setting this to off. You'll get a lot more signals now. So now you can see that all these shorts got turned on here. So let me kind of point these out here. So you can see this, all these shorts turned on now when I set this to false. So if I set this to true, you can see all these shorts go away because these shorts do not agree with the trend of that indicator. So this filtered out all of these shorts here. And so if I set it to false, now all the signals show up. So Yeah. So all right. So that pretty much kind of shows you the core of that support resistance solver. And let me see if there's really anything more to really tell you about the swing trend or the swing trend solver. You know, it is pretty simple. It's just telling you kind of what mode the SI swing indicator is in. You know, so once again, when we got into this downtrend mode, when this previous low was broken back here, so we were in this downtrend until we broke this previous high point, and then an uptrend mode was detected. So, all right. So let's move on to another. Well, actually, I'm going to show you kind of I guess today's theme is kind of like using support resistance. So I'm going to show another way of detecting support resistance, and that is, let's see, using the indicator comparison solver. And now this indicator comparison solver only works with one indicator line or one indicator plot, whereas the support resistance solver, you know, the power that this solver has is that when you're selecting your indicator, you can select all of the plot lines to calculate against. However, when you're using the indicator comparison solver, you can only pick one plot line. So if I go down to the Murray math line, you know, I can only pick one line at a time. So if we're going to use, you know, the comparison solver, it's best used against like an SMA or some other single plot indicator. So I'm going to put the EMA on here. I'm going to use the EMA. And I already have the EMA 55 on my chart, so that's what I'm going to use. So let me let me turn that EMA on. And all right, so all right, so I have the I kind of went about this backwards here. Let me kind of start over so I'm not confusing you guys as much. So so the premise of this this example here is to show how to when using the comparison solver, I want to show that we're comparing price to the EMA indicator. So on indicator A, we're comparing price to the indicator. So we actually want to set this to the price, to the closing price. And then what we're comparing the price to is indicator B, which is the 55 EMA. And essentially, what a lot of systems like to do is they like to try and detect these bounces here. I mean, this is this is definitely a perfect classic situation here. Price came down and bounced right off of this EMA line here, support resistance line. So, here's something I always do whenever I'm working with BloodHound and building a system is you want to name your indicators or your solvers. You want to name your solvers, and typically I use the indicator name that is being used with that solver. So now I can see that this is the EMA 55 comparison. And so like the support resistance solver, I typically would have named it like the Murray, then I usually shorten the name to just SR. So this solver is using the Murray, and I know it's the support resistance solver. Alright, so back to the comparison solver. So normally I would say, common situation is you want to know when price is within the vicinity of our support resistance line, being this EMA line. And for most systems, price usually breaks through the support resistance by a little bit. Obviously the market doesn't behave exactly the way we want it, and so we can see here, it kind of broke through a little bit and then bounced off of it. We usually don't get this perfect bounce situation, so we want to have an allowance here to allow price to kind of break through a little bit and still give us a valid signal that we could be getting a bounce off of this line. And so I'm going to show you how to do that with this comparison solver. And so what I have to do is kind of set up my allowances first. And I want to set this up to actually allow this breakthrough to occur. So I just kind of need to figure out what that is. And it looks like 5 points or 5 ticks is enough. So let me just set it to 6 ticks. Actually, so I had to set both of these to 6 ticks, and I'll kind of explain why here as I explain the theory of how this indicator works. And what we're looking for, I'm going to turn all of the outputs off for this solver, and then what we're looking for is this neutral area. This neutral area is the 6 ticks above and below the EMA line. So there we go. Now when we do this, BloodHound's going to give us both a long and a short confidence value. So if if our signal was combined with other indicators telling us which direction we wanted to take the trade, so hopefully our indicators would tell us that we want price to come down back to this EMA, and then we want to take a long bounce off of it. So we want to take a long trade as it bounces off of the EMA line. And so therefore we have a long output allowing for that. And so over here, when we're in a downtrend, your other indicators would tell you, okay, you're in a downtrend, so look for a short opportunity. And so as price comes up here and gets close to the EMA line, that would be our trigger to say, okay, this is where we want to take a trade. We want to take a bounce trade off the EMA. And so our other indicators, the other part of your system would say look for shorts. And so BloodHound, gives you the short output to go along with your short trade. So let me swing back over here. So essentially BloodHound is giving us an output whenever price is within 6 ticks of this EMA line. So so using this comparison solver, essentially it's being used as kind of like a proximity to the EMA. So whenever price is within the proximity of the EMA, this one solver is giving us a signal. And so when you combine that with your other indicators, parts of your system, this is just the one component to say, hey, you're within the proximity to take a bounce trade. So so that's kind of an advanced way of using this solver. So back on previous workshops, we introduced some basic concepts of how to use this solver. All right, so let me pick another indicator, or another solver, excuse me. Yeah, so this regression channel position. This is kind of an interesting one. And I will have to put the regression channel on my chart. And sorry about all the clutter. Normally I would delete these indicators on and off my chart, but because we're now saving the chart templates and the BloodHound templates, I don't want to do that. That way you'll have all these indicators on your chart when you load the chart template. So let me add the regression channel. And I'm actually going to use a custom regression channel because it allows you to see what's happening historically. And the indicator name is the ANA regression channel. So if you download this, I know you can download this indicator off of Big Mike's trading forum. I'm not sure if you can download it from NinjaTrader's support forum, but I have a feeling it is up there. But if so, but it's definitely up on Big Mike's trading forum. So let's see. We're using a period of 50. Let me just change the width to 4, just an even number. And I'm going to change the colors here just to make it a little easier to see. And dotted lines here. Let me make this a little easier to see. So I'm going to change it from dotted lines to a solid line. There we go. That's a little easier to see. Alright, so now what I have to do is I have the regression channel and I have it set to a 50 period and a width of 4. And so I need to make sure that BloodHound, make sure this solver has the same settings in it. So yeah, so BloodHound, this solver defaults to 50 and 4. Alright, so now to kind of show what's going on. Now when you are analyzing this solver, to see how it's working, you always have to look at the most current bar that's on your chart. Right? You can't look at this historically because the regression channel, as you back up, you can see the regression channel is constantly changing its angle. So you can never look at this, historically back on the back end of the regression channel. You just won't get a true representation of what the channel was doing at that point. You always have to look at the most current bar. So by default, the way the solver is set up is that when price is approaching the upper line, it's giving you a short value or a short confidence to take a short trade bounce off of the regression channel. And so that's why we have a short in the situation. So here, I'll back up to this point and demonstrate the long situation. So when price comes back down and approaches the lower line, BloodHound is telling us that we have we're close enough to the lower line for price that price is most likely going to bounce off of this lower line for a long condition. And so that's why we have this long condition here. As price approaches this lower line. So let's look at the solver. Now, once again, I'm going to refer to more detailed understanding of this solver to the website. If you go to the documentation page and look in the documentation for the regression channel, that documentation has multiple charts that show, or multiple screenshots that show what these various zones are. You know, because zone A to zone F, yeah, the chart is essentially, it's just going to illustrate it better than I can explain it here. And so that'll kind of, the documentation will show you where the various zones lie within the regression channel. Yeah, so this solver here it's pretty simple, just like that, just detecting where you are in relationship to the regression channel lines. So let me move on to another solver here. I see you guys are pretty quiet. I guess I'm showing you some pretty interesting stuff because there's no questions coming in, so I'll just keep going. But if you guys do have questions, you know, just go ahead and feel free to pipe them in, and Jeremy's keeping an eye on your questions. So if he spots one, he'll interrupt me to answer your question. So because I'm usually so focused on my chart here that I don't see your questions, but Jeremy's here to keep an eye on your questions. So,
actually, Zach, I just want to know. Actually,
yeah.
Last 2 weeks ago, we asked those of you that would be interested in seeing BloodHound work in the strategy. You know, maybe we could transition into that. Seeing it's about 11. It's about an hour in right now. So, you know, and perhaps we can pick up some more of the other solvers next week, and I can squeeze this little bit in right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Is everybody okay with that?
So we're already an hour in, so yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
leave it at that.
I've just got a little poll up here, and you know, feel free to pipe in if you'd like to, but I want to get a little bit of a feel for what you guys are, if you guys have used a NinjaTrader strategy before, or if you've ever used the market, let's just actually say the market analyzer, I believe. Just let me know kind of where you're at with that. So NinjaTrader, if you're not familiar with it, it has a market analyzer built in, and it lets you just essentially, the idea is if you coded your own strategies in, you could use the market analyzer to figure out, you know, how profitable it'd be in a back testing situation. So, like, you know, say but you'd have to code it in. You'd have to actually do all the entry logic and as well the trade management to code it all in and put it into the strategy analyzer and you know, analyze maybe a couple of years back, a few months back, whatever your time frames are, and it would pop out an answer of how profitable you would have been if you traded it faithfully. A caveat with back testing, and I guess this is kind of outside of the scope of, like, we're not trading coaches by per se. We develop software and tools for you guys, and so to leave the expert traders, we can recommend certainly a few rooms that teach trading very well, but that's kind of not our area of expertise. But a few things that I've heard from various trainers and training that I've done myself is that back testing has some caveats to it. There's proponents that say that you must back test your strategy and whatnot. It's vital and to know whether or not you're making money with the strategy you've got. And I've got on the other side of the spectrum, you have people that say, well, it's all approximation. Your back testing results will never mimic real life. It's kind of up to you, I guess, where you guys sit. But no doubt, like if you do some extra research and you put some extra time and backtest your strategies, it certainly can't hurt at all. At least I don't think so. But to take the values or take the profits or the losses that you see in your backtesting results and use that as gospel is also kind of foolhardy. So it's sort of there's a balance there to be had for sure. Okay, let's see if I can share my screen here. Okay, so it looks like the majority of you guys know what the strategy analyzer is. Just haven't had the opportunity to use it, or maybe not the coding skill to. Can everybody see my screen? Okay. Let me see.
Jeremy, we still see the quick pull up there.
Okay, 1 second. I think I've got to. I might. I have to close the poll here. Okay, there we go. All right. Pardon me. I'm a bit of a noob when it comes to GoToMeeting with all this advanced features here. Okay, so I've got on the website here. I just want to show you. Now again, BloodHound is an indicator, and as you saw with what Zach was using there, it's a very configurable indicator. But in order to use the strategy analyzer, or in order to take positions with it and create like an automated trading strategy, it has to be a strategy within NinjaTrader. So in NinjaTrader, you have two types of essentially custom things that you can design. You can design indicators and you can design strategies. So indicators just paint your chart, and strategies actually are the code that lets you take positions and manage trades and whatnot. So on our website, if you go to the support section, go to documentation. We have some example files on the right-hand side. Now, a caveat here is, again, this is sort of when you're coding your own strategy and whatnot alongside with BloodHound, the actual coding of it and learning how to essentially manage the trade, which is what you have to do when you use BloodHound with it. The best support resources for those is actually NinjaTrader's support site. They for free, they will just, if you ask a question about like how do I do this, like how do I set a stop, whatever, they get back to you within 1 or 2 hours. They're very fast. So this kind of stuff, this custom coding stuff, does sit a little bit outside the realm of what we can provide report. So it does require a bit of an expert hand. But as you'll see in the next couple seconds, it's really not that tough, to be honest. So the first step, of course, is just go to that page here. I would pick probably strategy example 1. That's the easiest one, and just simply download it. So at the bottom here, I've got the sample strategy code example, and you just save the link as. And I've already done this, but you just save it to your NinjaTrader 7 bin custom strategy directory, which is shown right here. So if I go to documents, right, NinjaTrader 7 bin is short for binary, for those of you guys that know what that means, and it's the strategy directory. And you see, I've already got it here, and in fact, I've modified it slightly, so I'm not going to overwrite it, but this is where you would save it. And of course, if you guys have done sort of strategy development before, this is all very familiar to you. But now, what we have to do is just add a little bit of, like, we're talking like 2 lines of code or 1 line of code just to manage the trade, right? Because remember, BloodHound, again, it's an indicator. It's not a strategy, meaning that it'll handle the entries dynamically and in real time. But in terms of managing the actual trade and setting the stops, you guys still, like, if you're going to go this route, that still has to be coded in. But I'll show you in a second. It's quite easy. So I go to Tools, Edit NinjaScript Strategy, and I'm just going to bring up the strategy example. That's the file I just downloaded. Hit OK. And essentially, you'll see the code file pop up in a moment here when the computer responds. There we go. And the code will be all there already. And as you can see, all this print in green, these are what we call comments. So these are just like things that kind of give you hints on what to type in. And for the most part, you can just simply ignore them. But what I want to draw your attention to is these two lines here. This is the initialize section, and it's just like very much like scripting. But basically, the only lines you got to really add is just something to set the stop loss and something to set the profit target. And so what I've done here is just added these two lines. I'm just going to delete them and re-add them so you can see. But basically, as I type set profit target and open the bracket up, a little thing pops down there, and I have these different choices I can put in there. So essentially, the profit target and the stop loss can be calculated like basically with a percent, a price, or ticks. I'm just going to set a really simple example of 10 ticks as a profit target, and the stop loss as 10 ticks as well. So we're just setting up a really simple management of stops and profits of just 10 ticks and 10 ticks. Okay, so this read in English. This is set the profit target to be 10 measured in ticks, and the stop loss to be measured in ticks at 10 as well. And those two lines are just put inside this initialize constructor here. So this, you notice this is initialize, and then this is these curly braces inside here. You want to be putting them between the curly braces, and you just stick these two lines in here. We'll be providing these two lines, or this code actually up on the posting on the website. So it'll be trivial enough that you can just go in, and if you want to change these to 50 ticks, you just go like that, whatever. This is basically how you do it. So when you're done, you hit this compile button, and essentially what that does is it takes this English language code and converts it to computer code so it can understand. And sometimes you might see this. Basically, this is what we call a compile error. So it's basically telling me it doesn't understand calculation mode because I spelt it wrong. So if I go up here and actually type calculation mode, now, computers are very literal. They're obviously not like humans. You can't. There's no room for interpretation there. If you don't spell calculation right and leave out a C, it'll complain because it won't know what the heck you're talking about. Because to it, calculation mode means nothing. To human, though, we could probably interpolate and figure out that means calculation mode, but computers aren't such, and that's probably why developers are paid the big bucks, just because of that simple little thing. So anyways, I'm going to close this guy down now, and on my chart I've got basically the simulated data feed running, and now I'm going to I've got the 10 SMA move in the orange line here, and I've got the 30 SMA kind of in this bluish line here, and I'm just going to illustrate again like how you would do this. So I've pre-prepared like a BloodHound template, and all you do is go to strategies instead of indicators this time, and I select BloodHound strategy, and it's very similar to the BloodHound indicator in that now I've got a template up here like so. And you should be all fairly familiar with this. I'm going to load a 1030 cross template that I've worked on already, and as you can guess, 1030 it just looks for the crossover points when the 10 crosses above the 30 and vice versa. So I've actually as well done some logic with this just to illustrate. You can you have the full power of BloodHound here, and you know, any system that you design as well, and in this screen and using logic is kind of at your fingertips. So this is a simple 1030 cross. This takes, again, just the indicator crossover from 10 to 30. So if I select that, you can see I've got the 10 here, I've got the 30 there, and if I were to throw that on the chart, you'll see it just marks the crossover points. Important to choose as well, the calculate on bar close. I'm going to use true because I don't want it to be firing off intra bar. And you might get this warning if you've ever done a strategy thing before. Just basically my settings had said I want confirmation before an order is submitted. If you're doing an automated strategy, it's going to override that and not ask you for confirmation. So now on these tabs here, I've got one called strategies, right? And under there I've got the SiBloodHound strategy, and I just need to enable it. And again, I get that warning. And now, if I just want to scroll back real quick here and see, okay, so as you can see, historically it has marked some of these buy and sell signals already. So this is where the orange crossed above the 30 line, and that's considered a buy signal, which in this case I believe closed a short position off. And then and we don't have any crosses up until right about there. So I think I have probably a filter here. Yeah, I do. Okay, so actually I can go up here. And I've actually got another logic template selected, one with a bit of a filter in there. So I'm going to go with the normal one first with no filter, just to illustrate what I was getting at. So just the crossovers. So let's just take a look at this. So I've got this, if you ever use a simulated data feed, this is a NinjaTrader feature. I can just control kind of where the price is going to go. So I'm going to force it to go down a little bit so we can get a cross here. So we got this 10 moving average above the 30, and basically when it crosses down, it should enter a position. So on the right hand side here, I'm going to select orders so I can see what orders are being entered or submitted to the broker. So this is all simulated, so it's not actually submitting anything, of course, but this is kind of how it would work. So I've got the 15-second chart as well. It's just kind of, you know, that's a pretty fast time frame, but I just want to speed things up a little bit so we're not waiting a long time for signals to fire here. So we're waiting for the bar to close, and it hasn't closed yet. And as you can see, just peek behind. Okay, so now that bar is closed after 15 seconds, and that's a short signal. And I'm not sure if you heard NinjaTrader just chime in, but we're now short one position. And that's basically kind of how it works. It's like I said, it's relatively straightforward. Let me just see if I can find our order here, our executions maybe. That's our executions. Okay, yeah, it looks okay. Let me explain. I guess I must have had this. I must have had, I guess, a long position first, and then it fired, and then it closed that position. So there's actually no stops up there right now. But suffice to say, that's kind of how you would set it up. You would actually, you know, you add the strategy to the chart, and most certainly, if you guys are going to be doing this, you know, I would highly recommend a lot of time in simulation mode to make sure it actually does what you want. Because especially when you're coding, even if you're just coding in simple stops and whatnot, you know, it takes a lot of testing, I guess you could say, before you try to do something like this live. So that's the one way to put in BloodHound into your strategy, and actually you can even, and this is really neat, but you can even modify the signals on the fly as it's going. So I've got here right now a one of the logics that I've defined is just a crossover, but I've got another one where the crossovers only happen when it agrees with the slope of the SMA 100. So as you can see, this SMA 100 is a positive slope right now. So what it's going to force BloodHound to do is not take any signals unless they're long, because the slope is positive, right? So that short signal would never have actually been taken with this with this filter condition in. But as you can see, I just swapped it literally on the fly as it's running. It's still, I haven't disabled it or anything. And you can if you're crazy enough, I suppose you could actually be editing and changing this logic and adding new solvers and doing all sorts of fancy stuff while the thing is active. So it will actually respond in real time. And those of you that are used to the development cycle of having to write code and compile and reset everything, like that, this is obviously a much quicker way to do it. So I'm going to try to influence this moving average to pop back up here. So if we just patiently wait as we turn the corner, so I'm just move the trend back up. So right now we've got this 100 EMA is sloping positive. I've got plugged into the AND node, and I've got it as well with the crossover. So it's not going to fire a signal unless they both agree. And actually, maybe what I'll do is I'll switch this over to what's called the ratio node. And the ratio node works very similar to the AND node, except it kind of gives you a bit of a heads up when things are about to happen. So you see how we got these half bars here, right? So this is not quite 1, right? But we got these half bars, and it's because we have a positive slope with the 100 EMA, 100 SMA. And as you can see, if I scroll back, you can see when we had negative slope, we got a 0.5 as well. So the ratio node kind of like, I guess you could say, almost like adds the two together. It actually creates an average of the two values. So that's why as well we have this one lone kind of red bar here, and that was again the crossover that happened this way. But neither side was high enough. Like it wasn't high enough to actually create a real signal. But this one here, this one we're about to take here, is going to create a real signal. So
order filled.
There it goes. That's saying, all right, both the 100 SMA and the crossover has occurred, agreeing with each other, and the ratio node has calculated that's now a signal, and that's why we've entered long right here at the close of that last bar, right after the crossover. And as you can see now, we're long, and we still don't have any orders yet. So there's probably something wrong with my with my stop code, because it doesn't seem to be registering the stops. But let me move on here, and let's close this all down. I'm going to show you the market the strategy analyzer. So we can do, of course, the same thing using the strategy analyzer, not the market analyzer. I keep getting the two confused, but the strategy analyzer. This is a NinjaTrader's kind of big deal if you're a strategy developer, because this will let you backtest. Okay, so I'm going to connect back to my real data feed, so I can I don't get like crazy simulated data when I do this. And a neat little trick I've learned is with NinjaTrader, if you're trading, if you're testing out commodities like the futures market, sorry, like crude oil and natural gas, or any of these ones that have contract months, you can actually join all the data together by using #####. Yes, Peter. Yeah, no problem. This is definitely recorded, so and it'll be posted up in the next day or so. But I can use the CL ##, and that will just, NinjaTrader will be smart enough to just feed in the data from all crude oil, regardless of contract month. So it has some fancy kind of management that goes behind the scenes and picks the most current or most relevant, I should say, contract month for whatever period you're backtesting. And so I'm just slide this backtest thing out here, and again I'm going to choose my strategy example, and just like before, I just choose my template, 1030 cross. All right, and I'm going to start with just the simple logic of the crossover only. Okay, the 1030 cross, so plugging it right into the result, nothing fancy there, no filters or anything. I'm just going to trade, I don't know, yeah, let's take the 5-minute chart, and just so I don't sit here crunching away for a long time, because it does take some time to calculate all this, I'm going to just set it for March 1st, and just test basically, again, what if I had traded my strategy with this 1030 cross entry for basically since March 1st. I hit run backtest, and now we're kind of twiddling our thumbs, waiting for NinjaTrader to figure it out. And it doesn't look so good, but that's not a huge issue. You know, we can now go in and take a look at the chart, see where they, you know, where it actually took signals. Okay, this particular chart right now is painted with with the first logic. So let's switch it over to the entry logic, which is what we were using. And as you can see, it looks like we got stopped out quite often there. We took a profit target of 10. So you know, I guess these crossover strategies as well. Like, you know, again, to put my trader's hat on, but not to delve too much into it, because we're certainly not licensed to give trading advice. But you can see, you know, the 1030 cross is kind of a trending strategy, and to cut yourself off with a profit target of only 10 ticks is probably not the smartest thing to do. So, you know, obviously the management, your trade management kind of has to match your entry strategy. But let me just illustrate real quick. You know, so if you want to change it up a bit, you can actually work with it in the chart here, and do everything just like you normally do with BloodHound. You know, so for example, like say we want to switch it off, take a look at the entry with the slope, filter involved. When I'm happy with it and I've looked at the chart and everything looks good, it's very important. You got to do this step. Okay, just remember, if you're going to do it in the chart, you have to save it. Okay, if you don't save it, basically this instance of BloodHound is a different instance than this guy right here. Okay, so this is just BloodHound on the chart. This is BloodHound on the strategy. Okay, and they actually are in memory like two separate instances. So I'm sorry if I'm getting a little technical, but just beware. If you work in the chart, kind of this instance here, you have to save it and then load it from here, right? So I'd save it and I'd load it, even if it's the same name. Just load it again. It's fine, because you have to refresh it. And so this guy doesn't. What I'm saying is this guy does not communicate with this guy. Okay, and if you've used BloodHound, you've attended or seen some of our videos, and we talked about these quote unquote setup mode and real time mode. There's a distinction between the two, because that's just the way NinjaTrader is built. When you can set up an indicator before actually putting it on the chart. Okay, so this would be like your BloodHound is in real-time mode here, right? And this is like on setup mode. So you want to be, if you want to be perfectly safe, you know, just edit it from this screen here. The only problem is if you do that, you don't get the kind of the real-time feedback on this chart, like, you know, just like you're used to. For example, if I were to click these buttons or change things around, you know, I can update the screen instantly. You know, working in this mode over here, it doesn't happen, because this is again in setup mode. So that's just the one little quirk that you got to be aware of, right? So again, I'm updating it, but it's not changing the chart. But just make sure when you're all done working, just save it over here, load it up over here. That's all you got to do. Okay, so now let's just switch it up again. Instead of just the crosses only, let's try putting the filter with the slope and see if that changes the results. You know, and I just hit run backtest, and there you go. That's basically kind of like how you could use your workflow could go about. You just make changes, tweak it. You know, hit run backtest, tweak it, run backtest. You could be testing, you know, 50 to 100 systems a day if you want. You know, neither of these ones are actually winners, but I suspect that probably has to do more with the way we're managing the trade rather than actually choosing the entries. But I have heard actually in the past, when like, you know, a good starting point for a lot of people. This is again another advice from previous trainers that I've had, say that if you want to test a strategy out, you know, a good way to just see if it merits more investigation is just to set the stops, you know, a 10-tick profit stop and a 10-tick loss, or 10%, you know, a 10-10 we call it. Basically, set your profit stop and your profit target and your stop loss to be the same distance, and see if you come out on top. You know, and if you do, there's a good chance that your system probably has some merit to it, and then you can go in and start doing some refinement and some more filters and whatnot to get yourself out of dangerous areas or whatever. but that's kind of that. Again, that's really easy to set up. And just to review, going to Utilities and going to Tools and edit NinjaScript. Right, go to the strategy and pull it up, and it's just, again, it's just these two lines. Those are your two lines that set your profit and your stop loss. So, and that's kind of the only missing piece you need actually to get all this stuff working. Other than, of course, the strategy example file that you got to download from the website. So yeah, that's basically using BloodHound with the strategy analyzer and using it in an automated strategy, kind of in a nutshell. And those of you that are really into this idea of automated trading, fully automated trading, and as kind of I was when when I was developing all this stuff, that was kind of the purpose behind it. We are working on a secondary product called Falcon, which is going to be the trade management side of it. So you can think of BloodHound as kind of like your entry engine. So BloodHound lets you specify the entries, and Falcon will let you specify some very sophisticated ways to manage your trade. Dare I say, it's probably the most sophisticated that I've ever seen in terms of what's out there. And you won't have to do that coding step that I showed you here, but you'll be able to configure Falcon to basically without having to do this kind of stuff here in this code window. Interactively, you'd be able to configure exactly where to move your stops, when, under what conditions. Be it like conditions happening in the market with certain indicators, or maybe on higher time frames or whatever, what have you. So it's extremely powerful, and it's something that we're working on. And those of you that are worried about, like, okay, if I buy BloodHound, does that mean I'm going to be left out for Falcon, or how's it going to work? We're most definitely going to be having some incentivized pricing for those people that early adopted and picked up BloodHound. And when Falcon comes out, of course, there'll be some sort of packaging price, and there'll be some very generous pricing for those people that have BloodHound already to use Falcon and pick it up for no more, of course, than say the package price together. So you'll never be, I guess, at a disadvantage for being an early adopter of BloodHound. And just to say as well, it definitely pays if you're interested in Falcon. BloodHound is definitely the first step, because Falcon will be using a lot of BloodHound's logic for its power. So our goal is to be able to design Falcon so that it can run without BloodHound, but certainly if you combine the two, it gives you an extremely powerful entry engine and a lot of options with being able to manage your stops using the powerful logic. So if that's the path and the route you want to go down eventually and be fully automated and be able to back test your strategies kind of really quickly and with the full stop management, our products will definitely get you there, and having proficiency in BloodHound will obviously help you to get there faster. So Amir asks, okay, when is Falcon coming out? We're shooting for this year. I'm sorry I can't be more specific than that. Obviously, just when we're developing this kind of product, we want to make sure it's rock solid before it's available to the public. And is BloodHound available only for NinjaTrader? Yes, it is. It's currently exclusively NinjaTrader. NinjaTrader is really the only platform that has this kind of technology where we can extend it to this extent. We looked at other charting platforms, OpenQuant, MultiCharts, TradeStation, and none of them even come close in terms of letting us being able to develop these absolutely fantastic tools for a trading platform. So yes, NinjaTrader is actually a free product until you're ready to trade with real money. So encourage you to just download NinjaTrader if you haven't already, and you can plug in BloodHound. It'll work just fine without paying a cent for the full license for NinjaTrader, and you can do everything simulated. Basically trade simulation to your heart's content until you find something that works for you, and then you're confident to go live. And at that point, then then you can go and buy the actual NinjaTrader license and trade for real. So and certainly if you're in the research phase, I definitely don't recommend trading for real until you've got something solid anyway. And BloodHound will certainly help you get there quicker, much faster than if you were to just do it kind of on your own. Yeah, Robert, if you have issues with installation, why don't we, if you don't mind, maybe just hit that support forum and send me an email. Zach and I will take care of you and make sure you can get it installed. But let me just run through the installation procedure real quick here. So I'm going to close this Windows down. Say you got NinjaTrader up. All you got to do is go to Utilities, Import NinjaScript. Okay, and this is also in the quick start video as well. And you just take the direct download that you got from our website. Okay, I don't actually have it. Basically, when you download it from our website, it's a .zip file, and typically probably in your downloads folder or something. You just double click it, hit open. You might get a couple warnings saying, make sure you trust this vendor, blah blah blah. Just feel free to dismiss those, and then when it's all done, it should work. If you happen to, if you have an error message, please do send us an email in the support forum, and we'll get together one-on-one, iron it all out. It's typically, maybe a rogue. Like I had a customer not too long ago that accidentally dragged and dropped one of the files into another folder, into the wrong folder, and it was causing some errors. So, just a matter of sometimes just making sure that that there's no issues there, and your directory is clean. Okay, JJ, sure. I'll just describe Falcon again. So again, BloodHound is like your entry engine, right? It's your logic and entry engine, and Falcon is your trade management. So there's basically two sides of everything, or two steps here involved. And a great majority of people that own BloodHound are using it for discretionary trading, and so they'll use BloodHound again to specify the entries and then take the trades using, say, NinjaTrader's manual trader, which I believe is where is it on my chart here? I think it's that button, right? Yeah, there it is. So a lot of people will take the manual trader, and when they see the signal fire in BloodHound, they just buy market or buy ask or whatever their whatever their regular pattern is. But if you want a fully automated trading system, whereas we have the computer basically handle your trades, handle the management of your stops, and stop placements, and your risk management, all that stuff pre-programmed. And when I say programmed, I don't mean actually programming. I mean it's predetermined, I suppose you should say. Falcon will get you there. Falcon will do that. And it uses BloodHound's logic engine as well. So if you're a BloodHound user, Falcon is that much easier to use if you know how to use BloodHound already. And Falcon, again, it's not. We don't have a formal release date for it, and we're just sort of hesitating to give people a release date just because again, we want it to be a good product when we finally hit it to market. And rest assured, I guess when we get closer and we get closer to public beta, we'll probably be demoing it here and there to give you guys a bit of a taste of what it can do. But suffice to say, again, it will take you to the full circle. Like it will get you up and running with a fully blown automated trading system, programmed with your trading system built in and your stop management strategy. So again, we don't sell pre-baked systems. We're kind of the belief that you're going to be most successful as a trader if you believe in your own system, and therefore, generally speaking, your system's got to be kind of your own personality. It's got to suit your style, your risk profile, all those things. And so we've been working hard to build tools to help you express yourself, express your trading strategies in basically the BloodHound software, so that it can be executed by the computer without having the knowledge of say coding scripts and whatnot. And that's basically the goal of this entire company is to get retail traders to that point where they can do that. They can build fully automated trading systems very quickly and without expert coding knowledge. A feature that has a lot of demand with Falcon is to be able to hold those trades locally and not on the broker server. Yeah, so there's, that's I guess that's a very technical kind of thing in terms of how the trades are actually submitted, or if they're submitted to the broker in terms of the stops and whatnot. Just like NinjaTrader is built, you can, Falcon will take advantage of the fact that it can simulate the trailing stops and whatnot, and not basically have the broker's eyes, if you will, privy to that information. Falcon actually has a built-in capability to do exits, pre-programmed exits, so you can forego the whole stops and not even worry about stops, and just basically pre-program an exit. So therefore, no order would be submitted to the broker at all. So that if you're worried about security and you're worried about brokers basically taking advantage of the fact that they know that your stop is at certain levels, you can just simply use Falcon to just pre-program the exit and manage the exit, based off of whatever your criteria is, without actually submitting any stops to the broker. So yeah, that's definitely possible. Okay, yeah, thanks, JJ. Zach, do you have anything more you'd like to add? I think we've covered quite a bit today. I just wanted to real quick here just mention that next week is we're actually going to be hosted by NinjaTrader in another Introduction to BloodHound webinar. If you haven't seen one of those already, it's just a very basic webinar that we just go through and introduce people to what BloodHound actually is and what it can do for you. So a lot of you guys are probably past that point, but yeah, I mean, feel free to join us. It's going to be at I think 8 o'clock or 8:30 Mountain Standard Time next week. So I believe it's 8:30. I'll have to double check. But it's definitely going to be in the email list that goes out to the NinjaTrader folks. So Zach, do you have anything you want to add?
So, nothing to add, but I'd just like to reiterate to people that I'm here to do any kind of support, help that you need. Even if you need training, if you just want some one-on-one training, you get stuck on a solver, or you're not sure where to start, or something. I'm available. You can send me an email to Zach White at SharkIndicators.com, or if you're using Skype, you can add me to Skype. My Skype name is Zach White SI. And so if I'm online on Skype, you can hit me up anytime. Just two different ways to get a hold of me, and also hopefully pretty soon we're going to implement a booking system, so that way you can see what hours I'm available and schedule a time that way with me. Right now, if you'd like to schedule a meeting, it's best to send me an email, and we can bounce emails back and forth and figure out and lock in a time to meet. Please feel free to ask me anytime, to do some one-on-one training. So, and of course, you can submit your general questions to the support forum as well.
Yeah, Robert, just one last thing for you. Again, if you're having trouble installing, just go to our website under support, contact us, and just so we got your email and whatnot, just enter yourself in the system here, and so that we can start basically figuring out what we can do to get your install up and running. I suspect it's usually these issues are very easy and quick to solve, and they're just something really minor. So
yeah, Robert, you probably just have a NinjaScript error. That's really the only thing that prevents NinjaScript from being installed. So it's just a matter of figuring it out. So you can send me an email, and we can either, actually it's probably better yet to submit your request to the general support forum, and either Jeremy and I, whoever can get to you first, will try and set up a meeting with you. So yeah, so that's it for me. I think that covers it.
Thanks everybody for joining us today. And again, same time next week, we'll be covering different things. So every one of these webinars, workshops, we try to make it original and different, so that you're always learning something new. And join us for the next weekend as well. Again, just a reminder, we're going to be hosted by NinjaTrader doing the Introduction to BloodHound webinar next Wednesday, just before this one, using their Omnovia technology. So anyway, I hope you had a good time and learned a lot today, and we'll see you soon.